Hello, welcome back to Deconstructing with Dawn. I wanted to take basically my 15 ancestry videos and smash them into one and kind of answer your guys' questions. That way you wouldn't have to go and look at all 15 videos, because honestly, I haven't even done that. I don't think I've looked at any of my videos ever. After I've uploaded them, I don't look at them again. In the future, that's why I did this, is so I can eventually, remember what I've done. But at this particular point, I don't want to see what I've talked about because I don't like to bring it back up. It's not a, comforting, warm feeling most of the time. Anyway, but I know you guys don't want to look through 15 videos, but you have a lot of the same questions. So I hope I can smash everything into one, and then by the grace of God, figure out how to attach this to my main video. That way you watch the main video, then you see this video, and you're done. You don't have to, keep looking around for the answers. Basically, depending on which video you're seeing first, I was 25 years old when my mother told me that my father, candidate number one, was not my father. She introduced me to this man at my doorstep that had been a family friend, not most of my life, and it was her way of kind of like trapping him with a 25-year-old baby. Ultimately, we kind of figured out that was not my father. She died when I was 32. She was 48. She had me at 16. And it had nagged me that all of my life at that particular point. At 45 years old, my family got me a ancestry kit. So at this point, it's 20 years later. I've continued to have a relationship with candidate number one because I thought that was my father. I did the kit in October 2016. November 2016, Black Friday, I get the results, and I'm shocked and rocked and devastated because I ended up being half Irish. I had 8 months prior to that just spent 10 days in Ireland with my best friend, and was so pissed that I was Irish and didn't know it and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately that night I contacted my mother's oldest friend, and she's like, oh, it's this guy, which is a candidate number 3, which was an Irishman. I think it was number 3. Ultimately, I think she gave me 5 names. Obviously, it wasn't the inmate. The inmate apparently was in jail when I was conceived. Candidate number 2 was in Vietnam when I was conceived. Candidate number 3 was home from Vietnam 6 months to a year when I was conceived. 4 and 5 never did pan out. So in answer to your question, yes, I found out who my father was. This is the timeline, basically. October, I did the test, 2016 at age 45. November, Black Friday, 2016, I got the results. December 2016, I made contact with my father's sister on Facebook and left her a message. I believe it was January 2017 before she responded back to me. A little bit cautious but welcoming, and in the preliminary stages at this particular point, because I didn't have any extremely close matches to that family yet. I had distant matches and it all was falling into place, but at this point it was still preliminary, I would say. Again, one of the other main reasons that I did this was because I'm losing my vision, and I have been stable for the past few months until about a month ago I started just rapidly losing it, so much so that they're sending me to another specialist on the 19th. Next Monday. I have 5 autoimmune diseases, so I wanted to know if anybody else, had such weird stuff going on. A couple of my immune diseases are semi-rare, and the visual is definitely rare. Ultimately, find out that this sister of his has some equally weird visual loss, but I've been ruled out as having that. She herself has, she says she goes to the doctor, she comes home, and she has a new diagnosis. That's like my case. Every time I go to the doctors, I gotta have something else new. So, or alike in that sense. I then cut to February, March. I have my most closest match, which I believe is his first cousin, which makes her my second cousin. And there's no question about it. I'm 100% candidate number 3, the Irishman's daughter. What is funny though, the one that made the 100% definitive connection had the last name of candidate number 2, so that was kind of funny. I was like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? But it was a married last name. But anyway, I am 100%, as of even last night, her oldest son connected to me. His results came in, and so he's even as of last night, the Irishman's nephew matched up to be, again, there's 2 nephews, and there's a whole bunch of nephews, but this particular line that I'm talking about, I've matched up to every single person, as has my daughter. Also, beyond all this, I wanted to thank you. I mean, there's been 50,000 people that have watched these 15 videos, and that's 49,999 more than I ever thought would care. And you guys have shared such intimate stories with me that have made me feel personally so much better. I'm not alone. I thought I had this weird situation going on. Some of you are in even worse situations than I have been in, and you have sharing your stories makes me feel like I'm not alone. I hope I make you feel that you're not alone. You guys have been so kind to me, saying, I know one video I must have said something like, you know, I'm a fat white chick, and I wasn't being disparaging to myself. I'm just being honest. I'm a fat white chick. And I, you know, it's not that I hate myself or anything. I am, as a matter of fact, a fat white chick. And I cannot tell you how many of you have been so kind, saying, you know, that I'm beautiful and, you know, so generous with your comments. A few of you have been not very nice, but I don't really care. The people that have been kind fill my heart and soul, and I cannot thank you, every single one of you, enough. Anyway, so now we're into February, March. I am, at this particular point, told to, I found 2 of my 5 brothers. His sister tells me that he has 5 sons, and I find 2 of them. I give her the names of them and the mother's name, and she confirms that yes, that's the case, that she's been in contact with their mother, and their mother doesn't want me to contact them. And they're 29 and 32, I think, and doesn't want me to contact them. So that kind of sucks. And to this day, I have not contacted them. However, cut to the next month, now that I know who they are, one of them is a bit of a public figure, and I went to one of his events and, you know, got to see him and that kind of thing. I did not introduce myself, and I did not meet him. So if we are ever able to meet, I will let him know that I was there. So anyway, now we're to May of 2017. That was April. I saw him. May 2017, I go and make a pilgrimage to Colorado, which is where my mother's entire family is from. We go to where my mother was born, is the absolute highest peak in the United States. And I don't know, I felt so much love that my family would put up with me to do this, that they would go with me to, you know, the smallest town probably in all of the United States, in the highest point, and you know, put up with me to do this pilgrimage that I have to do, that I have to connect with my roots. And I don't know, it was a great feeling, and it made me feel like all this other stuff doesn't matter. However, that didn't last very long, because I am who I am, and I just got to keep digging at it. Basically, now July comes around, and I'm on Facebook, and I belong to all the Ancestry Facebook groups, and somebody says that they were looking for somebody, and they said, oh, try this website, and now I can't even tell you what that website is, which would be helpful, I'm sure, to some of you. And I put my father's name in there, and mind you, at this point, I bet I know who he was for about 6 months, and I've never been able to find him. I put his name and birthday in there. There he is. So I wrote him a letter in July. I did not mail it. It made me feel so comforting, though, to know that he was alive. I had imagined that he was, you know, he was a veteran. He'd been in Vietnam, lived summer of '69 in a basket, you know, as a POW. And I mean, just horrible things that that man went through. And I just pictured him being homeless on Skid Row and hungry, and, you know, he's a veteran, he deserved benefits and a place to live and all this kind of stuff. But once I found him, I'm like, I felt like a serenity. I felt much better. But I wrote him, but I did not mail it. Now cut to October, they found a mass in me, and surgery is extremely not a good thing for me to go through, but I decided I'm going to mail him the letter. In case I do die, at least he knows I existed. I mailed him a picture of my mom and me and all this kind of stuff. And matter of factly explained everything to him, that, you know, I know he is my father. I connected all the dots for him and that kind of thing. I know he got it because of the way I mailed it. I know he received it. But to this day, here it is, February 6th, he has not responded to me. 5 months later, 6 months later almost. I survived the surgery, but I ended up getting an internal infection, had to go to the hospital. I was in the hospital for almost a week. You know, I'm still, to this day, I have this infection inside of me. It'll take a year to go, up to a year to go away. and it may never go away. So I still have this pocket of mass in me, so that kind of sucks. In between all of that, September through December, we did our oldest daughter's DNA test because of all the medical conditions I go through. I was afraid that maybe she experienced some of those things as well. So we did her DNA. It failed the first time. The second time it went through okay. She has the same matches that I do to my father's side. She doesn't have, as far as I remember, when we did her Prometheus DNA genetic kind of stuff, I don't believe that she had anything that matched up to me. I can't remember now. I really have a bad memory thing, but I don't remember that she had anything that matched up to me. My report had like all the crazy stuff that I have. It showed that I had all that crazy stuff. Visually though, it kept saying that I had macular degeneration, which is extremely common. However, they've tested me like 20 times for it, and I do not have it. But visually, that's the only thing that they say is wrong with my eyes, is that I'll have age-related wet degenerative macular degeneration. I don't have it at this particular point. It may not be later, but for now, my visual loss is not connected to that. Anyway, her test, just shows that she is in fact his granddaughter, just as much as I'm his daughter, as connected by the first cousin and so forth. Now go back to November 2017. We returned to Ireland and had the most magical experience. I got to go to the town in which my family comes from to do research on my great-great-grandfather because I sort of got he was born in a cabbage patch. There is no record of him being born, no family, mother, dad, father, sisters, brothers, nothing. He just magically appeared in America one day and don't know how he got there. So anyway, I got to be in the town in which, the family comes from, and it was amazing to be at a place where people knew that last name. It was, I don't know, I will never be able to explain it, and I will never be able to replicate it, but it was absolutely amazing. Mind you, we were invited to the family's Thanksgiving dinner, his side of the family, but we were in Ireland for Thanksgiving. So we didn't go to it. They said they would have a Christmas party, but it didn't happen. And I don't know if it's just because, we were invited, but it didn't end up happening. And I don't know why. I don't know why. But we are invited to a St. Patrick's thing where a bunch of the distant cousins are getting together for St. Patrick's Day because they're Irish and that's what they do. But I don't know if I'm going to go to that at this particular point. But that is basically everything. I hope I kind of answered everybody's questions. The biggest thing is, guessing who my father is. Without a doubt, it is the Irishman. A lot of advice when it comes to the prisoner. I have not told him. I did mail him a copy of my results, and so he could see I have no Polish, Russian, or anything like that in me. And he's not said anything about why that might be. But I know our relationship is strained on my end. He writes all the time, and I can feel that I'm losing it with him, and that sucks. And he's sick, and I'm his only child. And I'm not his child, I don't know, but there's still that relationship. I have not told him. However, it is strained and he can feel it, and he'll write all the time and say, I haven't gotten a letter back from you, or that kind of thing. And so I'll just mail him a card or something just so I don't have to address it. Because by lying to him, in my opinion, this is lying to him, I feel no different than my mother, and that makes me feel like crap. And so I know I need to tell him somehow, but all of you say don't tell him. My family says don't tell him. But how does that make me any different than my mother who started all of this? How does it make me any different, protecting his feelings and not telling him is just lying to him. And I do not lie. And I feel that I've lied for the past year about that. And I've had this secret. I feel I tried to tell him, and he's not accepting that, but I don't know what else to do. So that is still on the table. My family loves me, and that's probably all that matters, because expanding further on my father's side of the family, doesn't look like it's all that great of an idea or going to happen. So, you know, love who you have. And I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of everybody watching these videos and being so gracious with your assistance, like offering to assist me, all your comments, all your, you know, this is what you should do, your recommendations, all of it, or even caring of it at all. Thank you all for everything. And I hope this kind of, you know, answers your questions. Thanks so much.